Ladies and gentle scouts of the Dummies Funhouse Podcast Network, welcome into the latest edition of the Dummies Scouting Brief Podcast. I'm Riley. He's Matt. We are back with our 6th or 7th episode. We're really not sure because, shout out to Kyle, we had like 2 or 3 episode 4s. So we are back this week with 2 more players. Matt, what's going on?
Not too much. How was your holidays?
Holidays was fantastic. I didn't do anything except watch football and celebrate my graduation, so I drank a ton of White Claw.
Ain't no laws drinking claws.
There were no laws over this Christmas and New Year's. No laws.
How upset would you be if we got a sponsorship offer from Truly?
Decline. I don't care what amount of money they cannot. It tastes different. White Claw is so much better.
Bud Light Seltzer comes out this month.
It has malt. I can't drink it. Yep, I looked. I already looked. I'm all over the seltzer.
Well, how is there malt in seltzer?
Malt and water. You got me.
What?
Nope. The Natty Light stuff had malt too.
What?
Yep. Had to stick with the.
What about the new Four Loko that's coming out?
That also has malt.
Man.
Malt or barley or whatever it is, but that stuff's 13% alcohol too. So I'm missing out on that. Needed some of that while I was watching tape on one of our players that we're going to talk about tonight, which is a good segue. We're going to jump right in to the wide receiver who officially declared for the 2020 draft out of Texas Christian University, Mr. Jalen Reagor. Now, before we jump in, Matt is going to give us some background on Jalen Reagor.
Jalen comes in at 5'11", 195 pounds. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He was the number 13 wide receiver, and he was the number 96th national player. His dad played defensive tackle and was a member of the 2006 Super Bowl winning team. I think it was the Indianapolis Colts.
I actually didn't know that. Fun facts from Matt. I like it. So I guess Jalen got the motherly, smaller genes. Don't think he's going to be playing any D tackle in the NFL. A lot of people love Jalen Reagor. Very intriguing, captivating prospect coming out of TCU this year.
We'll call him Toolsy.
Toolsy's a good word because he shows the ability. He flashes from time to time. My question after probably 7 or 8 games of cut-ups of tape of his, is he a polished receiver? Can he hang with NFL corners? So here's some things that I really didn't love from his tape. Here's some questions. I came away with more questions than anything from Reagor's tape. Does he have consistent releases off the line? I see some good ones. I see some really footworky, choppy, situations where he struggles to get cleanly, takes him maybe a half a second more, which slows his route down.
I don't know how often he was getting pressed either. I think a lot of teams were playing him off because of his speed.
Which is another reason why can he release off the line? I only saw a couple times where the guy was playing like a soft press, so he was probably 3 or 4 yards off, but he wasn't, 10 to 15. How a lot of the times they were playing a deep cover 3, cover 4. That was most of the time. So I
do remember him having a nice release in the Texas game when he caught a touchdown in the red zone.
Yeah, when he does get a good release off the line, your corner's probably not going to catch up to him, right? Reagor has burning, electrifying speed, bursts and accelerations off the charts. That's one of probably his greatest trait. Mid-air adjustments and body control, fantastic. You see him a lot of times adjust well to the back shoulder. In midair, not quite sure how he does it, but that's a very, very fun to watch. He's going to have instant value as a special teamer. Like he will be a starting returner from day one who will be dangerous. Other than that, I think he has good hands. I think I see a few drops from time to time. He scoops the ball on screens. Don't love that.
A few drops. I have at least one a game. Come on now. There's more than a few. It's consistent drops. Like that's my biggest concern with him is his hands are very, 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 very wildly inconsistent.
I don't think his hands are awful. That's why I have it as a question. Like, I want to see more. I want to see him. I want to see him make more catches over the middle. A lot of times it was screens, very very short stuff, or bombs.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of him catching it away from his body. So that's why it's more of a question for me. Like, I don't want to say he has terrible hands.
But what
I don't
but
think
what,
he has great hands.
I don't. Yeah, it's just
sure.
like I just don't know what the problem with all the drops is. If I knew what the problem was, we could fix it. But it's just too many drops.
Right, and that's why right below it I have. I don't think he's a natural pass catcher. Like, obviously he's not a Tyler Boyd, a Larry Fitz. Like, the ball's not going to just absorb, and he's not going to catch everything in his bubble. I want to see him try to catch more away from his body. I just need to see more, and that's what I don't know if he can do that yet. So that's a question. His route running, when I saw him run some comebacks, some in and out routes, he overran himself a lot. Like, I wanted to see knees over toes more. A lot of the times he was real ahead of himself. Kind of goes back to the footwork being a little choppy. I don't know if he's a good route runner. He just separates with his speed, which not a bad thing. But you're going to have to be able to run routes in the NFL. Unless you're Tyreek Hill, and I don't think he is to that extent of a player. Just a minor thing, he's a real short strider. I know he's fast, but his legs are tiny. Whatever. I had the same question with Leonte Carew. I don't think that's what led to his downfall, but I don't know. I mean, Rager's polarizing. When he has the ball in his hands, let's go. Like, I'm excited. He's going to have a role in an offense. It's just the question for me is
he's going to have a role in a team. I don't know if it's going to be on their offense to start off with, though.
It should be. Like, he should play at least a McCole Hardman role, which, thinking about it, Hardman I don't think would be a bad comparison for Rager. Hardman was return guy this year instantly, played a little bit
when Hill was out.
In the screens. He's been playing towards the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, just kind of, deep bombs, screens, maybe some shallow crosses here and there. But he's not a number one, not a number two guy. He's kind of he'll have his own packages. And I'm afraid that's what Rager's going to be. I like Hardman. I hadn't thought of that before just now, but I think Hardman's an interesting comparison for him.
Sure. Don't hate it.
So, I mean, I'm assuming you don't have anything else to add to the tape stuff.
He is a terrible blocker.
He didn't have anything in my notes about run blocking, so
he was just he was just not about it. Like, sometimes he was just like, nah, not now. Like, sometimes he would get in there and he would get his hands dirty, but other times he was just not about that action, boss.
I don't think he's going to hold down blocks. One of the things I love to look for is, like, does he have dog in him? Don't think he has the dog in the run blocking game.
No.
Maybe it's because he's 5'11 and 195 and he knows he can only win with speed. Speed or either adjusting to deep balls, which great aspect to bring to an offense, but is it something you're going to get on a consistent basis for your fantasy team, for your dynasty team? No, probably not. I mean, if you want to think of not a player skill set comparison, but for an asset comparison, think Will Fuller. Like, he's probably going to be a little bit healthier than Will, which is kind of frustrating.
It'd be hard not to be.
Because Fuller is incredible when you get him on the field. And I don't think Rager's going to be as productive as Fuller is when he's healthy, but I think he's going to be that inconsistent. It could be 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, or like 1 catch for 8 yards. Like, it's going to be that. Yeah. So I don't really know where he's going to be drafted. Is he
He's not a first-round pick. He's a day 2 guy.
Let's get this
on day 2.
I will put a lot of money on Jalen Rager not being a first-round pick because it's not going to happen.
It's not happening.
No NFL wide receiver coach is going to stand on the table and say, this guy is a first-round pick.
Unless he runs in the 4-2. If he runs in the 4-2, all bets are off.
Agreed.
I heard on the broadcast they had him at 4.29, but I don't know how true that is. It's hand-timed. It's by your own school. I would probably venture to guess he's probably a mid to high 4.3 guy. Is he fast? Absolutely. Is he a 4.2 guy? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. He's probably going to be a late second-round pick. I don't think I would spend that if I were a GM, maybe that's why I'm not a GM. I have him probably in the third round range, but we saw last year the McCole Hardman go in the second. We saw 8 or 9 receivers go in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He's probably going to slot somewhere in that range. Depending on the situation, could boost his rookie value. But I'm not really going to want to spend the mid first on Rager.
Yeah, I think in my mind he's not going to go where I'm going to. He's not going to be at the price I'm willing to buy him for, because he's going to be a mid to late first round pick, depending on landing spot, and I'm just not there with the inconsistencies at all.
Agree, and that's why I think I settled on my final comparison as like a Corey Coleman type asset, to where if he gets drafted, if some reason he ends up in the late first, he's going to skyrocket just because the first round value, it comes with the name brand.
Yeah.
And if Rager's anywhere above 107, 108, I'm not touching him. I think
I don't think I want to take him with a first round draft pick.
I don't think I do either, unless he lands
in a dream spot. Let's say he ends up in
what
Philly.
Is a dream spot?
Philly,
it'd be fun.
Something like that. If he ends up in somewhere, it all depends on where some of these landing spots happen. Maybe he ends up in Dallas. If he ends up in somewhere like Dallas, if they don't retain Cooper, something like that. But I think for my Gallup shares, but that's neither here nor there.
Actually, I think that may help Gallup.
Exactly.
Because you're always going to have a safety somewhere in that half of the field to help with Rager and his deep threat. Exactly. So, Dallas wouldn't be a bad spot because Tavon Austin, I need him to quit getting touches. And that dream is over. It's been 6 years now. Jeez. He came out in 2013.
Number 8 overall draft pick.
By your St. Louis Rams
at that time.
Oh, man. And then, hey, Hopkins went in the late first, and so did Cordell Patterson. So that was a fun class. I missed that. But yeah, so Rager, probably going to be in a void. We'll see about the landing spot, but more than likely, use your first-round pick elsewhere.
Like I said, I don't hate players. I hate values.
Agree. He's a fun play. Now, if I'm a coach, I'm excited about the possibility of using Rager in my offense. Yeah. But that's not the business we're in. He's not going to be a consistent asset. He's not going to be a consistently targeted receiver for his team. So in that case, he's probably not going to crack my top 6-ish receivers in this class. So ranks will come out later. I'm sure they will for you too.
Yeah. Not there yet. Don't have enough overall film done to do anything near rankings. I don't put rankings out in October.
Combine, pro days, and landing spots will help sort that out.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun to see where he ends up. So that being said, moving on to our second and final player of the evening. Moving on to a running back out of Florida State, Mr. Cam Akers. Matt, take it away.
Mr. Akers comes in at a 5'11", 212 pounds. He is a 5-star recruit. He was the number 2 running back in his class and the number 3 player nationally. Riley, for $200. Who was the number 1 running back in that class?
Oh, I forgot about the trivia part of this.
We discussed him pre-show.
We sure did. All right, it has to be someone in this class.
Possibly.
It has to be. Who came out? Was it? I don't think it was Swift. I don't think so. I'm not good with the star stuff. I don't watch these guys until they're draft eligible.
We need an answer.
All right, I am going to say, was Jonathan Taylor a 5-star? I don't want to say he was. I don't know. Jonathan Taylor.
We were looking for Najee Harris.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Yes, Mr. Harris was the 2nd-ranked player nationally, the number 1 player overall, the number 1 running back.
Who was number 1 overall? Did you offer $200 for that?
It was just Jeopardy style. Yeah, I did.
Dang.
It was Jeopardy style.
I needed the $100 question.
This isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
No, like I'm talking like in Jeopardy, they go down, or maybe it's 200, 400, 600.
Yeah,
I don't watch
exactly.
Jeopardy. I don't watch Jeopardy. Anyways, back to Cam Akers.
Hold please.
Gosh, I forgot Najee Harris was. Yeah, I see. I'm already in ranks mode. I'm ready to.
No,
get
it makes
grades.
sense.
Although Harris over Taylor though.
That's a bold. I mean,
Harris will be talked about on this show.
I couldn't remember because I don't know who this guy is. Jalen Phillips, who plays defensive end at UCLA.
Oh, UCLA. That's why. That's why no one knows him now. Oh, the fall of UCLA and USC.
Chase Young was number 7, in case you were curious.
Not bad.
Right in front of Jeffrey Okudah, his teammate.
Okudah looks good. He played really, really well against Clemson. Very well. Anyways, do we have any background on Cam Akers? I know we got sidetracked a bit.
No, the trivia question I had was his background.
All right, so that's the background on Cam. Matt, give me some quick thoughts on Cam Akers and his film. What did you like?
I liked him more than I thought I was going to. Good long speed, nice lateral agility. The first game I watched of him, he completely whiffed on a pass block, and then after that, he did a really nice job, I thought, for the most part. I'd probably give him a B in the pass blocking, but he seemed like he was willing and had some good technique there.
Agree. I have written very solid in pass pro, strong jabs against pass rushers. I would probably say B+ to A-. I think he was very solid.
Okay, you're a little more generous than I am, but to each their own, I suppose.
Yep.
Does a really nice job fighting through contact. Does a really nice job creating yards, which is huge behind that offensive line. Looked up some stats. According to Football Outsiders, Florida State ranked 130 out of 130 teams in 2018, and this year they bumped up all the way to 120 in line yards. So definitely was getting no help there. He was kind of the one thing he did sometimes. He was kind of Barkley-ian in a sense that he was trying to do too much behind the line, which caused him to get some negative yardage on some plays. He was like, you know what I mean? He was trying to do too much, which caused him to get tackled. Barkley-ian.
Excellent adjective. Love it.
Does a nice job as a receiver out of the backfield. Has some good burst. I wouldn't say it's elite, but I would say it's plus. Does a nice job letting the blocks that are in front of him develop. Patient as well there too. Something of that. Some of the negatives I saw of him, a couple fumbles in the couple games I watched. So don't want to see fumbles with our players, but I mean, obviously that doesn't always translate to the NFL. I think Miles Sanders had 6 fumbles last year in college. I don't know how many he had this year. He might have had 1.
Was it Sony Michel who had a kind of a fumbling problem at Georgia?
Yes.
Okay, and he's been relatively fine since.
Correct.
Okay. So
a lot of these things are just these little things that can just get coached up with some technique.
Yeah, like that'll be a big issue with some people with Jonathan Taylor, with usage and fumbles.
Yep.
Sony Michel was a huge knock. I mean, I can't remember who puts out the stat, but he was like he fumbles once every X amount of touches, and I want to say it was a pretty small number, but it's fine now. He's probably had 1 or 2 fumbles.
Miles Sanders led NCAA football last year in fumbles from non-quarterbacks.
Did he fumble this year at all? Once?
I'm sure he had at least one.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, like fumbles. I don't want to say overrated because they're a big deal, but they can be coached. That is a very coachable issue. So yeah, some I'll touch on some Cam film. I liked his very quick change of direction. Plants foot and instantly can turn and get going another way. I thought he had really nice burst for his thick body. He has a very nice thick frame. Decent burst. Quick out of cuts. I thought he was very nice getting in and out of those. Good agility for a guy with his size. Solid pass pro. Here's good and bad news. The good news is he can be a very decisive runner. The bad news, he can lower his head and miss holes from time to time. That's a little frustrating. I'd like to see him keep his eyes downfield and keep his options open. but I get it behind his offensive line that you and I could have been starting on. I get it. I mean,
Turnstiles.
sometimes you just want 3 or 4 yards out of a play.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's understandable where his mindset is. I thought he ran with a nice low center of gravity. Runs with power, not afraid of contact. I want to see him run more routes out of the backfield. I saw a couple decent ones, saw a couple sluggish and laggy ones. Depends on the system he goes to, but I'm sure his running back coach can do that because he gets low in his runs. I want to see him get low in his routes. But overall, I mean, I thought he had a good blend of thickness, burst, and quickness. So I liked Akers more than I thought. He's definitely going to land in my top 5. I've watched probably 10 running backs so far, and right now he's top 3, top 4. That's without Swift. Haven't seen Swift yet. But yeah, I liked Cam. So ultimately, I think he's going to end up in probably the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think
early 3rd.
I don't think that that's a knock on him. I think that speaks to more of the talent that's in this class.
Of course, because I mean, you're going to have Swift, Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, it's loaded. Plus, even deeper guys this year, like Najee Harris isn't going to go as early, but still, him, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who obviously this pod is a fan of Clyde.
The Clydesdale.
The Clydesdale is fantastic. And I mean, even later guys like Keyshawn Vaughn, I think he's going to be a later, but he's intriguing. Antonio Gibson, we kind of touched on him before the show out of Memphis. We'll get to him later. Very interesting name.
Not A.J. Dillon.
Not A.J. Dillon. Maybe at linebacker.
Or fullback.
I don't know. Fullback, I don't know. You got to be quick to.
Just put a couple pounds on and make him a defensive tackle.
Like I said, we'll just put him at middle linebacker and tell him to fill a hole. He's really good at that.
So really quick, I just want to point this out. That was really bothering me. Not Boston College, Boise State has a middle linebacker, and I kid you not, his last name is Wimpy.
Oh, you never know what you're gonna get. Gosh,
just the musings I find while I'm watching these games.
See, I struggle watching Boise State film. The blue jerseys, the blue.
It was. I believe it was either in Florida State or it was a
Okay, so
or it was a neutral site game because it was the first game of the year this year.
Yeah, maybe that's why I wasn't super high on. Maybe that's why I wasn't super high on Madison. Didn't love the jerseys in the field, but also didn't like Jeremy McNichols. So I'll take a win and a loss there. Madison looked good. He looked good. But anyway, back to Cam Akers. Probably most definitely going to be a day 2 guy. I'll be shocked if he slips to the 4th round.
There's no way. No way.
I mean, raw talent. You can see it even though his line sucks. So
yeah,
kind of regardless of situation, unless he lands behind McCaffrey, he's going to be a 1st round rookie pick and one that I'm going to feel pretty good about.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm pretty happy with getting him in the mid to depending on landing spot, obviously. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's hard to come up with a landing spot right now just because we don't know what's going to happen in free agency. There's going to be a lot of turnover. If Derrick Henry were to leave Tennessee, would really love Cam Akers in Tennessee.
I would love a lot of these guys in Tennessee.
True. After we've kind of seen what Henry can do, we know Henry's not a McCaffrey or Kamara type athlete. Would love to see a guy who can get pretty shifty. I don't think Henry's a shifty guy. He's a dump truck, a fast one. Would love to see a Tennessee running back.
If Ferrari made a dump truck, that'd be Derrick Henry.
Yes. Very good comparison there. But yeah, 5'11", 212. There's really no weakness in his game. We got real nitpicky with him. I'm kind of excited about Cam. I want to see how well he tests, and I want to see where he lands.
Yeah. So, Riley, I know I have my comp on the spot. Who's your comp?
Let me preface this. I don't love it because it was hard to find a good comparison for him because he's well built and he has a lot of positives. He does everything well. I had Chris Carson-ish. I think he kind of plays like Carson. You see some power. You see some quickness. You see a little bit of everything. That's where Carson's a little bit bigger, runs with a little higher, but still Carson does everything well. decent speed, quick, powerful. That's kind of where but I don't love it. Hard for me to find one.
As soon as I watched him, I wrote this guy down, and it's the guy I just talked about 2 minutes ago, Miles Sanders. He reminds me so much of Miles Sanders. They look the same. They play the same. They have similar strengths and weaknesses. I just think it's a pretty good comparison. I don't know how. I think I like Sanders more, obviously, because he went to Penn State and because there was less talent ahead of Sanders last year, or there was less talent around Sanders in terms of running backs than there is with Akers this year.
See, Akers strikes me as more of a power guy than shifty. Runs harder. He wants to run through people. Sanders seems like he wants to juke the guy and then run around him. But I saw Sanders. He liked to lower his shoulder from time to time.
Yeah,
but it seemed like
I think that may have to do more with the line as well too.
Could be, very well could be, and that's hard to decipher.
Yeah, especially in college.
It just seemed like Sanders was shift then power, whereas Akers seems more of a power then shift kind of guy, if that makes sense.
Sure,
but I mean, Akers was a fun evaluation. Hard to really slot him with a current NFL name, which I think is a good thing.
Sure. Yeah, you want to see guys who are diverse coming into the league. You don't want to see, this person's the exact clone of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. Danny Woodhead. if we're gonna get stereotypical there. Any third down running back is Max James. That's true. Any third down running back is always James White. Any white third down running back is always Danny Woodhead. Or Darren Sproles if you're really short. Those are the main three. Yeah. Those are the main three. So yeah, Akers was fun. I think I'm going to be really, really excited and confident if taking him probably in the back in mid to late first.
Yeah, if I'm sitting at 108 and Akers is there, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? If he goes a half decent landing spot, obviously the landing spot is so huge to all of these guys. But I think we're going to see some of these guys who are they're going to go behind someone like, they're not going to see much action year one, and they're going to surprise a few people. I think we're going to have that with his class.
Yep.
Or we could have that with his class. But I think the landing spots may offer some good buying opportunities because their value may be somewhat depressed because of their perceived year one value.
Agree. And I mean, just look back to 2017. Loaded class, a lot of guys, came out where a lot of dynasty players liked them. And in the back half of the first, early second, we saw Alvin Kamara to the Saints. I thought it was a good landing spot, but I was more focused on getting Kareem Hunt, who landed in a pretty good spot, but wasn't going to contribute right away. Yeah. I think Akers could be another candidate to be one of those buys towards the end of the first.
A situation that I would be looking at to target in that situation, I know we're talk about a little different than what we usually talk about, but if a running back ends up in Buffalo, another one there with Singletary, I think that's a situation that I might target because I don't dislike Singletary. I just don't know what his ceiling is and if he could hold off another challenger.
I don't think Buffalo's going to invest in running back.
I don't know, but they're also going to lose. Gore has to retire.
Gore's not going to retire. Let's face it. Gore's going to play for the life.
His son just committed to college.
FAU, right?
College.
Where Singletary went.
I believe it was at FAU, correct?
Yeah. After what Singletary did against Houston in the first round of the playoffs, I don't think Buffalo invests significant capital. Now they could bring in a sixth round.
They have nothing there. It's Gore and Sonoris Perry and the biggest whiff of my off-season trading in TJ Yeldon.
You and me both, buddy. I thought Yeldon was going to be a nice PPR play this
when
year.
they let go of McCoy, I was like, yes, that's going to be a flex play.
You would think. And Yeldon's not a bad running back. He's not great, but he is solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do in free agency.
Yeah,
Like they could do, like you said, Gore's a free agent. I just pulled up the list. There are a lot of really solid. Carlos Hyde's a free agent. I could see where they bring in Hyde to back up Singletary, and you just use him as a change of pace.
sure.
Uh, Maybe somebody like Spencer Ware. Uh, you know, even a Jalen Richard, I think, could have some. Jordan Howard's a free agent, so just some players that could come in and
Sure.
let Singletary catch a breather. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they draft. Obviously, not day one.
No,
Probably not. Probably not day two. It'll
I'm
be.
thinking a late day 2 guy, maybe early day 3 guy.
If I'm a
Depending on what
betting
happens
man,
in free agency, I'm gonna
it'll
say
be day three.
yeah, but that's what Singletary was. He was
With this
a day 3
class,
guy.
no, Singletary was day two. He was third round.
Was he third round? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, in this class, a fourth round or fifth round pick could be a third round pick in a normal year.
Yeah, like what happens
running
if
backs.
like Najee Harris goes to Buffalo?
Ooh, it's intriguing.
Exactly.
So Buffalo's intriguing. But yeah, I mean, Cam Akers is going to be for the most part, he's going to be a safe investment. Good player.
Yep.
Very good player. High ceiling, and I think a relatively high floor.
Let's hope he ends up in Tampa.
Whoever lands up in Tampa is going to be the 101, 102. Unless
they sign a free agent.
True.
That's a good free agent.
Yeah, we'll see. So who knows what Tampa's going to do. We thought they were going to do last year. They brought in an excellent running back, signed him to the practice squad, and then
top five guy.
And then for some reason decided to let him go and give Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones the carries, which Rojo looks a lot better in year 2. I'll give him that.
Don't forget about Daria Ogunbowale.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought he was going to be the guy. Of course, our guy wasn't the guy, so I mean I can't say anything.
Yeah,
we miss you, Bruce Anderson. Hey, it was year 1. Anything can happen. I like Jonathan Williams coming out of Arkansas, and look, he had one good game in year 4. The hope is there. Anyways, that was a bad tangent. I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Jalen Reagor, a little bit lower. Feel free to talk to us on Twitter. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you think we missed. Same with Cam Akers. Do you like him? Why or why not? Let us know. Let's see. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Fat Mormon. You can follow myself at DTC_RileyB. Trying to wrap this up because I know Matt has to poop. This has been another episode of the Dummies Scouting Brief. You can follow that pod handle at Dummy Scout Brief on Twitter. Let us know if you want us to talk about any specific players. We'd love to take suggestions. Other than that, we will be back next week.
Toodles.